This is the Jason Walker Show. Two-time National Sports Media Association Montana Sportscaster of the Year and three-time loser, the Jason Walker Show. The best local and statewide sports coverage, featuring the biggest guests from Montana.
Flint Rasmussen joining us here on the Jason Walker Show.
He's freaking exhausting, too. You used to dance a lot more. Yeah, I know, lady. I'm 51 years old now.
The NAI Hall of Famer Mike Van Diest joining us here, Jason Walker Show. And is it just a deal where quarterbacks have to be good golfers?
Well, that's all they have time for. They don't work out. They don't lift weight. They don't do anything else. They might as well go get on the golf course and at least have some fun.
And from across the country,
Doug Gottlieb, our guest here on the Jason Walker Show.
End of the day, remember, it's your show. It's got your name on it.
Howie Mandel, our guest here.
Jason Walker, deal or no deal?
the Jason Walker Show, broadcasting from the Major Mortgage Man Cave. Here's Jason Walker.
Yo, happy Thursday. It is the Jason Walker Show. Welcome inside Major Mortgage Man Cave. Excited to get going today. Montana State women's basketball coach Tricia Binford will join us coming up. She just signed a new contract that went into effect on July 1st. We're going to talk to her about that, which is very cool. And can't wait to chat with the coach who I used to do PA announcing for 8 years, something like that. Yeah, so there you go. We got some COVID talk. Is there going to be a fall sports season? We're going to discuss what surrounding states have decided as of now, as of July the 16th, on this day in history coming up, and of course the walk-off presented by Cafe Zydeco. So let's get started, shall we? And we start as we always do now with a COVID update. And Montana, 134 new cases reported today. That brings us up to 1,226 active cases. 35 deaths, 150 total hospitalizations, 37 active. Those are the numbers you need to keep an eye on, the active hospitalizations and the recoveries as well. 4,000 new tests done, so that's good. The biggest new ones, 47 new ones in Gallatin County, 45 in Yellowstone County. Billings, Bozeman continue to be the hot spots. And Billings has this week, starting tomorrow, the Big Sky State Games kicking off. And starting today at Yellowstone Country Club, senior golf. So a bunch of old dudes. You got the Montana State Men's Amateur and also the first Men's Senior Amateur. You got about 200 golfers on the course this weekend, starting today. There's a lot of old dudes playing some golf in Billings right now that I'm not sure if they should, because according to all of the information since March, those above 65 are at risk of getting the COVID. And that's something to keep an eye on. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. But hopefully nobody gets sick. Hopefully everybody's fine. And hopefully everything goes off without a hitch. And there's a lot of hopefullys in there. But I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Because how are you supposed to wear a mask literally doing any sport? Literally any sport. Golf is not a very strenuous sport. But are you supposed to wear your mask then? I mean, we know track. You know, they got the Montana Mile tomorrow night in Billings. And, you know, it's really hard to run in a mask. I'm guessing. I don't run, so it's just a lot of uncertainty. Okay, Helena Police Department came out today and said that the governor's mandate for the masks is not enforceable Businesses can enforce it as private entities. But you can't be arrested for not wearing a mask out in public. The governor, his mandate, it's up to businesses, okay? Because they are private. If you walk onto their private property, they tell you to wear a mask or ask you to wear a mask, then you have to, if you want to be in that business. But hell, in the police department can't enforce it. They can get you for trespassing if you get called on from a business, but the governor's mandate is it's not a law. It's not enforceable. Much like a lot of these states who have these mandates, including Washington, where I just saw that Governor Inslee out there has issued, effective Monday, no more than 10 people outside of a household, 10 people a week would be allowed outside. There's I have to do more reading, but okay. So inside and outdoor live entertainment, this affects out in Washington. Amanda Rowley, who's a great reporter at KREM 2 News out there, used to be in Montana, but she is, she's going to ask the governor if this goes into September, because if it goes into September, that's going to affect your fall sports seasons, not just high school and college football, but also volleyball and cross country and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, well, that's where we're at, folks. That is where we are at with the COVID. It's crazy. There's no doubt about that. Coming up in a little bit today, we are going to talk about what North Dakota is saying they're going to do high school wise, and also Idaho. They put out some guidelines. And it'll be real interesting to see how Idaho affects Montana, or what the National Federation of High School says, because Mark Beckman is the president of the NFHS, and he's also the head of the Montana High School Association. I don't know I'm not convinced that we're going to have fall sports. My buddy Howard says, yeah, but they'll probably not have playoffs or state tournaments as we know it. I don't know, man. I don't know with the numbers going the way they are. And yeah, I know the death rate is low. And this is where I sound right on the middle of the fence, because I want sports, but I also want safety. And I've been saying this since March. But where does, and I read this report a couple weeks ago before we went on vacation. A doctor did a study. I'll have to try to find it again. But of the 13,000 Division I FBS football teams, or players, he anticipates 3 to 7 would die if there's a fall football season for college football. That's way too many. One is too many. Are you willing as a parent to put your kid on the field? And I know the chances of your kid dying are very, very slim. 3 out of 13,000 is nothing. But that's 3 too many, if that's the number, because that's a possibility based off of the doctor's current projections. And I had it. I'll go back and find it and read it again. But then you have a whole conference and divisions saying they're not going to play, and moving stuff to the spring, possibly the Ivy League and Patriot League. Is it Patriot League? I believe, yeah. I don't know if there's going to be a fall sports season, folks. And it's something that you should start preparing for now. Look, if you got a kid who's going to be a senior and wants to play football, and then because of science, there's not going to be a football season, that sucks for your kid. It really does. But there's more to life than that. And I know I'm going to piss off a lot of college and high school coaches and parents because of that. But are you as a parent willing to risk your child's safety so you can watch them play his senior year or her senior year? It's a legitimate question. And I've asked nothing but legitimate questions since March when I said we should cancel the state basketball tournaments. And I got lit up on Twitter. I feel safer on the roads than I do in the gym, was one comment. Because there was supposed to be a bad storm that week between Helena and Bozeman, coming home from the semifinals and the state championships, which were not held. And trust me, like I said, I need sports to talk about. This is mainly a sports talk show. But there's not a lot of local sports to talk about right now, is there? Butte canceled their Little League season with just a couple weeks to go because of the rising numbers. Let's say you're the athletic director. Let's say you're the coach. Let's say you're the principal of a school, of a high school. Yeah, somewhere in Montana. You name it. You pick this. You pick the city. And one of your players dies from COVID. You okay with that? Just so they can have a football season? And again, this is not something I want. I would love to have fall sports, but this is something you should prepare for. This is something you psychologically need to talk to your child about and yourself. Because let's be honest, there's a lot of parents, dads, who try to live their life through their kid in high school. Because you were, it's just, we see this all the time. Especially, in movies, but it's real. You get a lot of those dads that weren't good and pushed their kids. Look, I sucked in high school. I wrestled one year. I played some baseball. I never pushed my kid. He did what he wanted. He wrestled a year, played soccer a year, tried basketball a year, and then he didn't do anything his senior year. Oh, he even tried football one year. But I never pushed him. But there's a lot of dads that are doing that. And now, are you as a dad willing to put your son's life at risk so you can live vicariously through him? That's way extreme, I know. But you have to be psychologically prepared, okay, for no fall sports. Would you rather start a season and then have to cancel it 2 or 3 games in, or just not have it at all? Legit question. All right. We're going to pause on the COVID. There is some positive news, not much, coming out of Bozeman. One is that Montana State women's basketball coach Trisha Binford got her
favorite band rocks the charts at #1. It feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like #1 is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today. Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show. Do you love to look at photos of Montana, from animals to landscapes and more? Are you looking for a place to get your senior pictures or family portraits done? Are you a business owner looking to upgrade the decor in your offices? Well, look no further than Mark LaRoe Photography. Mark has been shooting beautiful photos all across the Treasure State, from rodeos to portraits, and would love to work with you. Visit marklaroephotography.com to see many masterpieces of his work, then give him a call to schedule your own photo shoot. Or to purchase one of his fantastic pieces, stop by Spirit of the Big Sky Gallery on Custer in Helena. marklaroephotography.com.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Records, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Records Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Welcome back on a Thursday inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave. Jason Walker Show. Going to talk Idaho and North Dakota High School Association sports, what their plan is for the fall. Will Montana have a fall sports season? We'll talk about that coming up. But I want to hop on and get our first guest going. She is the very successful women's basketball coach at Montana State University. Just had a new contract kicked in, entering her, I think, 16th season. Tricia Binford joining us. And Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jason. Thanks for having me.
It is. It's always my pleasure to chat with you. I think I did PA. I was trying to figure it out. I think your first 8 years, I was your PA announcer back then.
Well, now you're aging both of us, but those were some great times for sure.
Oh man, just Mandy Carver, by the way, is a name from the past. Just a Facebook friend requested me, so that literally just came across. But that's a blast from the past because she was a great player at Idaho State and then got into coaching, and you were a great player, got into coaching. It just seems like it's an awesome cycle that great women athletes become great women coaches.
Well, it's definitely an amazing opportunity to step from a student athlete into the role and the shoes of the mentor. And so I think it's just an opportunity to pay it forward. So many people have impacted, influenced my upbringing and my development. And I can't imagine just the preparation that did on my behalf for just such great coaching mentors in my life. And same thing for Mandy. It's fun to be on the other side and see it from the other's perspective. You learn very quickly that not everything that you thought as a student athlete, you've got a different perspective very quickly when you hit the coaching world.
It's almost like being a parent when you grow up and you realize, you know what, my parents weren't too bad. They kind of knew what they were talking about. Kind of like coaches.
They're not totally crazy, right?
Right? Yeah. That's how I feel. Tricia Binford joining us. All right, so you just had a new contract kick in on July 1st. First off, congratulations. That is awesome. Very well deserved. You now the lone female or women's basketball coach that makes more than the men's counterpart. And I know that's not a big concern, but I think this contract shows A, your longevity, and B, your success. And congrats on that.
Well, I appreciate it, Jason. I think I just feel really supported, and we're extremely thankful and grateful for this community, our university, our athletic department. And we're certainly, I think when you feel supported and valued, there's no better feeling than that. And I feel that across the board with our whole department. It's been a special place. We're going to continue enjoying this ride and supporting the other programs because we certainly feel supported on our end, and just mostly thankful. I shouldn't say mostly, but I definitely want to give a shout out to all of the student athletes I've ever had an opportunity to coach and the coaching staff that I've had to work with. I just feel really fortunate that I've been around some great people.
You definitely have. And I mean, the list of players just at Montana State goes back on and on. I mean, it's just amazing. And I want to talk about a couple of those a little bit later on, but when you first got your first contract at Montana State back in the day, did you expect to be where you're at right now? I mean, nobody expected, I don't think anybody expected you to stick around as long as you have.
No, certainly not. I think for me, I have no problem with change. It's kind of in my DNA and my nature. It's probably been more of what Bozeman's brought to our lives and this university and this community. When we first took over the job, the number one goal was to establish a really strong foundation of winning habits and a culture of excellence, and then take it from there. And as we started helping the program grow, it just became more not only committed. When you take any job, you want to just take every day with your most commitment, but it just became so much more of the heart in our home, and we're blue and gold in the veins now, as President Cruzado would say, and we see the vision of what Montana State can still be. We feel like we've done some great things, but there's more things to be had, and we're inspired as ever.
You know, when I started doing, Tricia Binford joined us here, Mike Miller, State Farm Hotline. When I was starting to do PA announcing back in '96, women's basketball was an afterthought. And, I mean, they ended up getting great crowds and great success. It waned a little bit, but getting those crowds back has been so important. And obviously winning helps, but there's one lady, you already mentioned her, but Waded Cruzado knows exactly what it means to be a Bobcat, and her support for women's athletics and all of athletics at MSU. But I don't think anybody in the nation does it as good as Miss Cruzado.
I couldn't agree more, Jason. When you look at having great support around you, great leadership, great mentorship, she is the epitome of just success from where she has started and where she continues to take our university and excel. Her vision, her energy. We had an opportunity to go to Puerto Rico with her this year with our team. She took us on a personal tour of Puerto Rico, which was amazing. But the piece that I'll take away from that trip was when she sat down with our team and took about 5 minutes to just tell them her story. And I just thought that was so powerful. I can't even explain how glued our kids were, how attentive our kids were, but they were all leaning forward and just locked into her every word. And I'm like, just that in itself, to be an example for all of our students at MSU, it's just really inspirational for sure.
Tricia Binford, the Montana State women's basketball coach, our guest here, Jason Walker Show. Kind of a not great way to end the season, as we all know, and we've talked about it, you and I, on the air, but you've got a few players. I talked to Peyton Ferris. She's still hoping to get back over to Spain. I talked to her when she had first gotten back, but had Fallon Frigi on the air a couple of weeks ago. She signed with a team over in Sweden. Claire Lundberg's heading over to Sweden. I think that shows the success that the team has had and the great student athletes that you're recruiting to bring into Montana State, that they get a chance to continue in the pros like you did.
Well, I think there's a couple things. Every kid that you just talked about was also just they were all fantastic students. And I think, one of the things that we talk a lot about is when you put great habits into place, so your habits carry over in everything that you do. So they have successful habits on all preparation, whether it's in the classroom, how they conduct themselves, how they prepare. And I think that's why they're great students, but I also think that's why they're amazing, consistent performers on the court, and just tremendous, consistent work ethic. But, I think the part that first of all, that's one of the things I'm most proud of is they're just great representatives and role models for this community, and inspirational female examples for them young ones to aspire to. But, this pandemic's been really interesting. Even with Peyton, we're trying to provide and help with opportunities for training, and it's just been really tricky and challenging for everybody on continuing to work on their games and getting really creative. And we're hopeful they're all going to have opportunities overseas, and really proud of them to continue those careers as long as they can. But they also have great next steps in their futures when their professional careers do finish. And I think that's a really important thing for young females to also hear is that you can play as long as you can, but then also have that next step from a professional standpoint, and they're all going to do very well.
I talked to Fallon, like I said, a couple weeks ago, and she said her game has not reached yet her highest potential, which is scary. And you consider how dominant she was in the Big Sky Conference, and after taking a year off for the transfer rule, but that's scary for anybody that's going to play against her overseas.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I wouldn't want to be the team against her. I'll say that for sure. And first of all, I want to give a shout out to Coach Golden on our staff. She actually signed with a club program that he worked with last year, and so that relationship I thought was really helpful for us. And that one's going to be competing against Claire next year in Sweden, so that's pretty cool too. So I'm going to try to create a split T-shirt to support both of our players. But I'll tell you what, Fallon, I think that the crowd started to see what she is capable of doing. And it did take a majority of the preseason for her just to let the game come to her. It was one of those things where she had 1 year with us, And, she and I always had that conversation of what if we had the full 4 years, but we just packed it all in, Jason. And we might made the most of this 1 year we had with her. But that first half of the season, she was really pressing, just wanting it so badly, not only for herself and for her teammates. And once she just started enjoying the game again, because it did take a full year just to get to that point where this is an amazing game. These are amazing teammates that she got to experience this with. And I was so happy when I finally got to see her play the game again and just smile and enjoy it. And it didn't feel like a job again. It felt like the way the game needs to be played. And when she does that, she is truly unstoppable. I think our crowd got to experience that and see her start breaking away. And she is somebody that can definitely take over a game. And I feel like Peyton Ferris was the same way. So, and it's one of the reasons why Peyton's game continues to evolve. I mean, Peyton was talking about working on her guard play again and her point guard skills because they had a kid go down there. I mean, this is a kid that could play any position on the floor. And Fallon continues to just be really dedicated to her craft. And so I'm excited for her professional future and for all three of them, like you had mentioned. And, we still have a couple other kids still playing overseas as well. Katie Bussey's a name of the past that has been on the physio side, but she still continues to play. And Rebecca Mercer, it's Benson now with her married name, but she's still playing over there in Perth, Australia. So I think when you have a love for this game, it can go as long as you want to take it, and as long as that body holds up, and they're going to have some really great careers over there.
You bring up Katie Bussey, and I didn't even expect to answer or ask this question, but she's been so successful overseas, and like you said, she's gotten into the physio side. Her videos are nuts when you follow what she does with her stamina and her physio, and it just she's one heck of a. I mean, it's a great family. We all know that, the Busseys, but she's just she was something special when she played, and she continues to be something special.
Well, she does, but another example of a kid that just had winning habits. When I think of the kids that are going to separate themselves, when you sign players to your program, everybody's going out there signing talent. But the kids that take it to the next level are the ones that are willing to put in more time, and that's where you have to have a level of passion and love for this game for you not to get burned out with that process. Katie was somebody and still continues to be somebody that absolutely is super passionate, loves the game, and I think one of the ingredients for her to extend her game as long as she has was not only her degree in that exercise science kinesiology range, but her commitment to the nutrition part. I just think her ability to start training herself to an elite level, knowing the process of what it takes to take care of your body physically, I think that's really extended her career. But also she is so passionate, all those other pieces, when you put all those pieces together, that's a game changer. So I'm with you. When I see those videos, I'm like, okay, I'm motivated to get off the couch now and do something, because she's embarrassed me just watching those videos, so really, really proud of her.
Did you ever go one-on-one with her while she was at MSU?
I probably did for a short stint, and then I had somebody else guard her. So, don't let Katie get into a ball screen, because it's dangerous. She's deadly, and I feel the same way about Darian White right now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be trying to guard Darian White, but no, I would jump out with every team maybe once a year, if that. And Katie certainly was a special one.
Was she the best pure shooter you've ever seen?
We've had some pretty good shooters. She is one of the purest off the dribble. Rebecca Mercer was one of the most accurate. Claire Lundberg has to be one of the most accurate, but off the dribble in a ball screen. Katie is special, but, Oleana is pretty darn special off a ball screen too. And, we've got some sharp shooters returning, like as far as quick trigger and being money and finding more shots. I would certainly love to find more shots for Tori Martell. Yeah. I'll tell you that.
There's just not enough balls to go around sometimes when you have that many good players. Final question for you, Coach, but I'm trying to be optimistic. But I've talked to some other coaches across the country that don't know if their season's going to start before January 1st. Where are you at?
I'm the coach that's wired that we're going to find the greatness and the positive in any situation. So I'm all about, if we get one game on the court that we get to compete, we're going to make the most of that one game. And if we get to have a full season, fantastic. If we only have conference, we're going to make the most of it. If this means a longer time on player development, I got a staff that can flat out develop and build these kids the right way. So we're going to run with keeping our kids safe and healthy. That's our number one. And I'm going to be excited about every opportunity I get to be on the court with our kids.
Well, keep wearing your mask because you're going to have to now as a coach on the campus.
Absolutely.
But appreciate the time, Coach. It's great to catch up, and I look forward to talking with you once the season gets going here.
Sounds great. Appreciate it, Jason.
That is Montana State women's basketball coach Tricia Binford, who got a well-deserved contract extension and raise. Her base salary now just a little over what Danny Sprinkle makes, but he was in his first season and still has things to prove. Tricia Binford's been to Montana State for 15 years and has done a lot and won some conference titles and an NCAA tournament appearance as well. All right, so we're going to stay here, but you think about Montana State and the players that we just talked about, but the team that's coming back is unbelievable. And then, the Big Sky Conference, unbelievable. And the coaches that are in the Big Sky, especially on the women's side, you want stamina, you want coaches that have been there a while. Well, there's a few. Half the league. I mean, Coach Binford entering her 16th season. Wendy Schuler at Eastern leads the league. She's going into her 20th season. John Newley at Idaho, 12th. Seton Sobolewski at Idaho State, 12th. You've got Bunky Harkleroad at Sac State going into the 7th season. Lynn Kennedy at Portland State into the 5th. But everybody else, second and third, including Lori Payne out at Northern Arizona or down at Northern Arizona. But there is some great women's basketball coaches, in the Big Sky Conference. And it's been a pleasure to cover that conference for so long and get to know some of these coaches when I was the PA announcer at Montana State. They were just so much fun to talk with. And you see them year after year after year. And it's a lot like the Frontier coaches that develop great relationships with just because of longevity, and both on the men's and the women's side. So congrats to Coach Binford. And if you get a chance to follow, well, we talked to Peyton Ferris, but hopefully she gets over to Spain. But Peyton, Claire Lundberg, Fallon Friege. And, there's a girl that played Capitol High and had a successful 4-year stint over at Montana, Mackenzie Johnston, and she deserves a chance as well. And would love. We'll get Mackenzie on. We'll get Mackenzie on soon. But she's such an angel to talk to as well. I mean, we talked about Katie Bussey with Coach Binford and the family, because the Bussey family, when I was there at MSU, unbelievable, amazing, and the Johnston family here in Helena, same thing. And it's just get a chance to work with Jordy. I worked with Mackenzie. And, covered them. It was just, it's a blast. Great families are really what it's all about with the sports. And that's what I'll miss the most about not doing play-by-play is just the relationships you build with the families. And, the Burnhams, for instance, that was a great family. Kalajaye, Ife, Kalajaye's family. The list just goes on and on and on. And so much fun. But congratulations to Coach Binford. And, man, I would have liked to have seen them in the Big Sky or in the NCAA women's tournament this year. I think this was a team that could have won a game or two in the NCAA. But, Anyway, just reading something there, trying to catch up. So, all right, Jason Walker Show, inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave. And this segment brought to you by our good friends at Ruckers Furniture. Make the quality choice for your home at Ruckers Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena. Julian, Coach, hey, how's you doing? Joining in, former Montana State women's basketball coach. So fun stuff. And Carroll College, this just came in, has canceled their volleyball camp for next week and camps for the football this weekend and some other camps as well. We've already saw Montana State canceled their camps. This is crazy, and it's just nuts what's going on across the country. There is no doubt about that. So MHSA, we're going to talk about Idaho and North Dakota coming up the next segment. But MHSA, the disease is terrible. High blood pressure puts him at risk. He's old, but he's not giving up. Well, no, you shouldn't, Dan. Appreciate the comments.